There are quite a few different types of fasting, each with its own rhythm and purpose. Intermittent fasting is probably the most popular today. It focuses on when you eat rather than what you eat. Examples include the 16-8 method, where you fast for 16 hours, eat within an 8-hour window. Among the various fasting methods, 24-hour intermittent fasting once or twice a week appears to have particularly strong anti-inflammatory effects. I discovered this from having the occasional stomach upset during prolonged sickness, not being able to eat and vomiting for 1 to 2 days. I noticed the chronic inflammatory aches and pains from arthritis and nerve pain would disappear. My research into fasting methods began, and I found what works best for me. A study presented at the American Heart Association Scientific Sessions found that people who fasted for 24 hours once a week over several months had elevated levels of galectin-3, a protein linked to cellular repair, and reduced inflammation. Another study from the University of Cambridge showed that fasting increased levels of arachidonic acid, a lipid that helps suppress the body's inflammatory response by turning down the activity of the NOP3 inflammasome, a key player in chronic inflammation. These findings suggest that occasional prolonged fasting, like a full 24-hour fast once a week, might be especially effective at calming inflammation, potentially even mimicking the effects of certain anti-inflammatory medications. An 18 to 6-hour intermittent fasting schedule, where you fast for 18 hours and eat only between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, can have meaningful anti-inflammatory effects, especially when practiced consistently. Here's what happens with this method. Reduced inflammatory markers. Studies show that intermittent fasting can lower levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, like IL-6, anti-NF-alpha. These are often elevated in chronic conditions like arthritis, heart disease, and metabolic syndrome. Suppression of the NOP3 inflammasome. This is a key driver of chronic inflammation. Fasting increases levels of arachidonic acid, a lipid that helps turn down this inflammasome's activity, reducing unnecessary immune responses. Improved insulin sensitivity. Fasting helps regulate blood sugar and insulin levels, which in turn reduces inflammation. Chronic high insulin is linked to systemic inflammation and oxidative stress, boosted autophagy. Around the 16 to 18-hour mark, your body ramps up autophagy, a cellular cleanup process that removes damaged components and reduces inflammation at the cellular level. Lower oxidative stress. Fasting reduces the production of reactive oxygen species ROS, which are linked to inflammation and aging. So, while a 24-hour fast may have more dramatic effects, an 18 to 6 routine still offers a powerful, sustainable way to dial down inflammation, especially when paired with a nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory diet during your eating window. I am not a professional, but a patient sharing how I personally control an autoimmune disease. This is what I do. I eat between 12 o'clock midday and 6 o'clock in the evening and occasionally do a 24-hour fast. When fasting, it's still important to consume the correct amount of healthy foods in the given time frame. I do occasionally let the routine slip on the weekends. I have been more aggressive with fasting in the past, but now I have greater control and have found what works for myself. I can now choose when to apply a more aggressive approach, such as a whole 24-hour fast. Please take care, seek medical advice, do your own research, like and subscribe.